Welcome, everyone, to the Inlet podcast. I'm David Stiles.
My name is Charlie Carlson. This is the location for ideas, culture, wisdom, and history of the Eastern Shore to flow. We're going to let you in on some things. I thought that was good. Today's guest is a ukulele player, is a scientist. She's a local business owner and entrepreneur. We have Kristin Willis. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you. Thank y'all for having me.
You are now drifting in the inlet.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
So part of the reason why I really wanted to have you on was because you have a very cool backstory on how you came to the shore and how you sort of acclimated to the shore and then became, I would say, like a super powerful community member here. So can we start first with
I need to jot that down for my epitaph.
Yeah. Start first. You can maybe go back as far as you want to go, where you're from or school, or you can start after school. But let's get to know Kristin Willis.
Okay. Well, I mean, just for the basic background, Mississippi girl.
Yeah.
Went on with a bachelor's and a master's of science in a fairly traditional route, interjected by a research and engineering semester in Washington State, the year before I graduated.
Okay. What did you do out there?
I was working at the Pacific Northwest Laboratory, which could be a whole
podcast in itself.
We'll break this into chapters later for you.
Okay. We're writing a novel.
Yeah. So Pacific Northwest Laboratories, I studied. I particularly was interested in the municipal solid waste stream and the fate of plastics in the ocean because I was in marine biology. So that's what I went there to primarily study. Yeah.
I didn't know it was microplastics. Wow.
No, not necessarily. So I mean, one of the big projects that I did was a survey of all of the kind of north of Seattle area and kind of everywhere in between up towards Bellingham, of the recycling facilities that were state of the art, that kind of thing. The other, and doing a survey of what sort of waste do they do? It's not just that, it was actually more streamlining processes and things like that.
Around what year was this?
1942.
Columbus sailed the ocean blue. No.
Right after I hopped off the wet. No. So this would be okay. So let's see, 1993 was probably
early 90s.
Yeah. So early. Well, I saw Pearl Jam in the Real
awesome.
in Seattle. So way back in the day at the Phoenix Underground.
Oh,
so all the kids should look that up. So early 90s. And like I said, right before I graduated from college. So 92 probably. And the other really super cool thing that I did out there was on the more laboratory side is we were vitrifying radioactive waste.
What does vitrifying? What does that mean?
Is the glassification and basically the alchemy process of changing something to another form. In this case, we were taking buried radioactive waste from the Hanford site, which was left over from the days of fat men and little boys, as far as I know.
Right. Yeah.
And we were like, let's go see if we can make this basically inert and then used for road aggregate or all these things that it might be used for. There's a lot of buried stuff out there. So we were little by little adding materials to it that would make it, once it was ultimately liquefied and then cooled off again, most glass-like in its outlook. And so, boy, you're having me pull some old files from the history here.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Diving deep into the into the mainframe. Okay, so
that was a marine science joke.
Yeah,
dive deep.
And so I basically did that up there. That's what I was doing at the Pacific Northwest Laboratories, and then graduated. Here I'm wrapping that part up because we'll do that. We can talk some more about that. Okay, maybe. and then graduated with a master's of science, and then ended up going and spending some time out west, working out in Utah. So I've spent a lot of time working out west, and I developed in some of my later careers. I was training for some of the fishery stuff. I started meeting people that knew I was from rural Mississippi, and that I had met out west. And then when it came time to come this way, we had 9/11 had happened. I had gone to, what year was that?
2001.
And one. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up ultimately going and working in Alaska right after that. I had a fisheries career up there in Alaska, did 2 winters and a summer up there. And that is really what led me to me landing here. When I was working in Alaska, I was a biologist on a fishing boat in the Bering Sea, in the Gulf of Alaska for up to 3 months at a time.
That's wild.
The only female on a boat. Another podcast.
Girl power. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So,
what were you doing as a biologist on
fisheries management? Yeah, my job was the fish cop out there for sure.
So counting and like sizes,
subsampling, randomizing samples in order to manage the fisheries.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also had to do master's students otolith collections and stuff like that.
Okay.
So it'd be like, okay, if you finish up your sampling work, could you please? And I always did really good helping those kids out because I was I did that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff. And then that was I was a little older than most of the people that were out there doing that because I'd already kind of put a master's degree underneath me.
Mm-hmm.
And so after a couple of winters of living on a boat,
oh my goodness,
in the Bering Sea,
that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And
she's tougher than all of us
She's
combined.
tough. Yeah, I was gonna swear. I was gonna say bad blank, but I didn't.
Oh, wait, what?
I was gonna cuss, but I didn't.
Oh my God, y'all! If I cuss, you're just gonna have to
That's fine.
I have to clip it out.
That is
I speak
totally
fluent
fine.
French. I gotta watch it. I once got kicked off a fishing boat in the Gulf of Alaska. We were still at dock, and the guy kicked me off of the boat because of my foul mouth.
Oh, that's awesome.
sweet.
Yeah, I have I'm going to write. I have a memoir in my future for just Alaska.
Really?
When I was literally the only female on a boat for 86 days, twice with 124 men.
Oh, I bet you heard some stories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wrote a few too.
That's so you said I'm gonna go back.
Yes,
Sorry.
please do. Sorry, edit that out.
No, you said a word that some of our viewers might not.
Okay.
Can you guess the word?
No.
Can we play this game?
Okay.
It's starts with an O.
Oh, otolith.
Yeah. Do you know what an otolith is?
Otolith.
Because
I can't
that's
say I
a
do.
very niche marine science
It
thing,
is.
right? What's an otolith?
An otolith is the ear bone of a fish.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That
And much like rings in a tree, we can age the fish.
How do you spell that?
Otolith.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So you're like basically sampling fish ear bone.
yeah.
Yeah. To get the age of fish, right?
Mhm, yes.
So you're doing species counts, sizes, all.
I'm looking for prohibited species, which are species they're not allowed to keep on board at all because those are managed by the Gulf or the
Oh, there we
guys.
go. There's an
the
otolith.
An otolith.
An ode to the otolith.
Yes, look at that bad boy. They make a gnarly guitar pick too.
Do
Oh, I
they?
bet.
Yeah, pretty good. And
That's
fingernails.
a great idea.
Yeah.
Late night, day, starting your second month on a boat in the Bering Sea, you start doing weird things with otoliths and other things.
Nice. So you go out.
Yep.
So
Unfortunately, it puts an end to the hearing of that fish in particular. Not hearing.
believe me, we heard all about it.
Okay.
So you go from like super dangerous, crazy, cold job.
Yeah.
How do you transition to end up? What was next?
So I just knew that I wanted to do something similar still, but not actually have to live with a sleeping bag, for 3 months at a time.
Yeah.
And I wanted to settle down and kind of start that kind of part of my life
Mhm.
and get a dog and things like that. And, finally pull all the crap out of storage that I've been dragging around, the Matisse pictures and things like that. And the
things
furniture,
you've been storing these things.
For college. Yeah. All that. Yep. And so I heard that the East Coast Observer Program, which is a completely different beast altogether than the Alaska Federal Observer Program, in just many ways.
Right. There's warm water that comes up here, not cold water.
I'm speaking more specifically from the management standpoint.
Right.
Yes. Yes, it's much warmer. Yeah. And I wouldn't say less dangerous. I mean, if you've seen some of the inlets around here, but yeah.
We're pretty dangerous, you know.
Yeah, look at that. It looks calm.
It does. Must be a nice day out there.
It's lovely. And so I applied for the East Coast Fisheries Observer Program, was offering a position for Mid-Atlantic Regional Coordinator of the National Marine Fisheries Service, based out of Woods Hole, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Those of you that don't know, Woods Hole is like kind of a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
It's up there as far as like nationally ranked marine science institutions, along with Scripps and Virginia Institute of Marine Science, which we will hear. Yeah, Woods Hole up in Massachusetts. Yeah.
Well, nice. I was thinking too, the U.S. Geology goes out of there, and it's a major hub for, anyway, that's where all the fisheries management stuff is based out of. And like makes perfect sense. They have full control over what's happening off the coast of North Carolina.
Yeah.
And it just is absurd. So,
and this is through NOAA, right? This is a government agency, or where at this?
It's I guess the parent part of it is NOAA, and then it's National Marine Fisheries Service. And they are the ones that technically are responsible for managing the fisheries. And I might be like totally like, y'all might get a phone call and be like, but basically, having had years of experience, the gist of it is that the majority of the observer days on the East Coast are being funded out west in Alaska. The fishermen pay for your coverage out there.
Correct.
They are paying
this was
a contracted
big deal,
company.
Right? Recently, this changed. I think
that's what I might not be sure about.
Okay.
It's not, I'm like AI. I can only go back like, if it's in the last 3 years, I'm like, I'm not trustworthy.
Yeah.
I've been busy. Okay. So that's how it's going to go.
Okay.
Okay.
But the Pacific, the people out west have to pay you.
Yes.
But on the East Coast.
On the East Coast, it is funded by acts the government puts into place in order to manage the other things that are important, such as dolphins and turtles and things like that. So you have, we referred to it as dolphin money or turtle money, which is money that's being allocated to the government. And let me just say, I think any management of this beautiful Earth's resources is really incredibly important.
Yeah.
So I'll just put that out there. I'm not
would
knocking
totally
any
agree.
of it.
Yep.
I would just say that, as anyone could acknowledge, management is not necessarily always what
doesn't
it
get a
could
good
be.
rap. Yeah.
Or maybe I was always like, why don't y'all listen to me? I'm the one that's actually down here, with the info. But anyway,
with the data.
So they are mostly putting days towards observer coverage in order to because the dolphin people want to know. So they give some of their budget money to days. And then the turtle people want to know if the gill netters are doing it, over here, and pound net and stuff like that. And then you have, from time to time, stuff flares up around Menhaden, and they'll, but Menhaden is I remember one time as a manager, they told me to get Menhaden days. So I went over to Reedville or whatever and went down to some of those mean old assholes. And they were like, they very reluctantly, and usually my Alaska card gets me pretty far on a fishing dock.
Right.
Because like you said, there's not, all respect to any person who makes their living on the water 1,000% over. And I would never say one's more dangerous than the other. But when I talk to some of those guys over in Wanchese or over in,
down in North Carolina
or Pocosin, even over here, some of these guys that know a lot of stuff, and they're like, you did what?
Yeah.
You did what?
It's the Bering Sea. That's like one of the most dangerous places on the earth. Yeah.
My father was a commercial
ocean.
fisherman. He was a gill netter, and I used to go out with him all the time, and I've been in some rough seas, but I would never do that because I have seen that, and that's why I give you props with with what you did out
thanks.
there, because
I just thought my brain was just like, oh, Kristin, you haven't even let David talk at all.
No,
you just met him.
I usually do a lot of talking. I'm enjoying this right now. So
yeah, this is good. This is good. So you're out on the East Coast.
Yep. So I took the job as the East Coast area coordinator, and my territory, again, which was absurd, it's just a joke, was
unrealistic.
The northern border of New Jersey. So we're talking Belford, New Jersey, as far north as you can put in a boat into the water in New Jersey, to the South North Carolina border.
Wow.
South Carolina, North Carolina border.
So
that
Jersey,
was my territory.
Delaware, Maryland, Virginia. You're responsible for 5 states.
I'm responsible for all of the inside of 3 miles, for the most part, commercial fish waterman,
Ocean
activity.
And bay.
Yeah.
I
right?
mean, if they were going out for scallops or if they were going out for whatever. And so basically what would happen is, on a seasonal basis, we would, it was always tied to grant. And so this is like in 2003, 2002 is when I moved here. So 2002 through like 2005, where we, they get the budget, there's X number of days for dolphin, X number of days for whatever. And so they'll translate that into gillnet days down in here, or then wanchies, they want 43 gillnet days, and then da-da-da-da. And so my job was to manage the observer effort. So I had, 14, 20, however many people they had on, how many they had budget for,
Right.
And I worked for a company that was contracted by the National Marine Fisheries Service to provide the observer effort. And so they, because it was all coming through the government, the payment was on the West Coast in Alaska, the contract was between the observer provider and the vessel company.
Yeah.
It was a private interaction. This was all, based on grant. So that's why it varied. And oftentimes, like, the thing that frustrated me the most is that we would get these schedules of like, we want you to have this many days or this many days of here or there. And I would go to the dock, because we're here smack in the mid-Atlantic, and I'd be like, they're not fishing for that shit.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, oh, we need 32 days. And I'm like, well, y'all can, I don't know what you want me to tell you.
Right.
It's not running right
They're
now.
not going out.
Oh, at one point, one of the managers up there, and I can just say this, but one of the managers up there had told me, because I was like, I don't know what you want me to do. Like, they're not like, up in Gloucester, a scallop boat is a scallop boat is a scallop boat.
Right.
And they basically, but down here, that would just be like bad business. Like, it's too volatile of a fishery opportunity.
To be like
so
super
if you're
niche.
if you're like a dragger out there, and or a trawler, and you're trawling, and there's a big run of X, you
gotta go.
most likely have got a license for that, potentially, and you've got gear nearby or on board or whatever, because that's what's running, right? I mean, that was always the most frustrating thing. I keep saying is like, I would have, vessel captains go out, gill netters would be going out in North Carolina. And I've heard for years and years and years, there's, all we catch is dogfish shark, but they couldn't land them because the National Marine Fisheries Service, sorry, that seems blatant to say it like that.
They didn't allow it?
They would just be like, there's no dogfish out there,
Oh, they would
and they'd
just
be like, are you
deny
kidding me?
it.
There's like a ton of guys, from their stores across the bay in Virginia Beach that are, or wherever, that are totally willing to buy all the stuff from me, but I can't land it. Meanwhile, it's ripping up my gear. Those are the frustrating things that were not being translated, unfortunately, to the people that were actually like, oh, okay, this gear modification doesn't make sense for you. We get you. One time they had all the guys put metal tags on their fishing, on their
trot lines or
on their gill nets,
yeah,
like every so many feet. And well, you think at first it's like, that's no big deal, until they wound them up on their net reels, and then they go to spin them out, and it's like
stuck on everything.
Or cuts it,
or whatever. So there's a lot, and that part of me that is facilitator, cooperative, like that pissed me off, because I'm just like, I'm not somebody who's going to go around the track, but so many times,
Exactly.
It's like, I'm going to go around the track as many times as I need to get a good lay of the land. It's going to be plan time. And then, and then because of my ADD, I'm going to get bored with it. And then I'm going to have to dump you as a friend because you won't leave. It's like, it's not going to work. And so that was, kind of what happened with that. I mean, I was at the point where I'd been doing that for 4 years or so. When George Bush was in office, it was right before like the economic kind of scene went.
Yeah.
We went for this. I'd already been given the layoff scene from them for the majority of my observers, except for like maybe one, because there were no days being allocated because the budgets were all being, dried up and whatnot. And even though most of these days on the East Coast, out on the West Coast, the fisheries is such a big deal. It makes sense that it's managed the way. Over on the East Coast, it's mostly managed, I think, and I think it's still, I'd love to hear if I'm just that wrong about it, but I think it's mostly still managed, which is terribly important to fulfill the obligation of the federal government to honor the Marine Mammal Protection Act.
Right.
That is something that mandated a certain amount of coverage for the observation of commercial fishing effort. Now, why there's not that same thing for tuna guys, I'm not quite sure. But, or the Menhaden fleet, thank you very much, or whatnot. Now, that is pretty clean fishery. I don't want to piss anybody off, but they're not going to catch a whole lot of bycatch. Hey, guys.
You're totally fine, Menhaden people.
Upset the guys over at
no, we're coming for you.
No,
we're not.
No, I mean, and then being somebody who wants to solve problems, especially in my community, the shore, where I'm like dealing with a lot of these guys that are pound netters and all this kind of stuff. It's just frustrating to not see forward momentum in solving some of their some of the problems, especially if you want people to like believe you and like believe in you and support it, then it's definitely a give and take, So basically that, when I got, just to get to how I got to the shore, I took that job on the East Coast and did that for a few years here. But the way that I landed on the Eastern Shore was because that area that was so big, that was so broad, they did say, we would just like you to live somewhere in Virginia. And going back to when I first was saying, I have a buddy that's he's out in like Teton area, but he's lived in Kill Devil Hills and stuff. And he was familiar with the shore, knew that I'd lived in Salt Lake City and had lived out west and stuff. And he was like, if you've got to go live somewhere out there, I think you would really dig the Eastern Shore of Virginia. And that's it's always like word of mouth. Yeah. How this place is discovered. I think for the people that, for sure.
But that's cool.
Yeah.
So you come to the Eastern Shore and as a single, right?
Yep.
Scientist.
Yep.
And how does that atmosphere feel to be coming to,
Well, it was fine. Unlike maybe a lot of people in my position, I was not intimidated by being on my own. I've been living on commercial fishing boats.
Strong, independent woman right there.
I mean, I've been holding my own, on these boats around some very interesting characters for quite some time. Y'all don't even know.
I know. Well, all right.
Y'all don't even
Can you?
know.
All right, I'm going to go back to the boats. Can you tell us? Can you think about the best story or the craziest story on any?
Okay, I'll tell you a story.
Yeah.
A good story that does not involve anything that has to be bleeped or like, or is going to be safe for my memoir under my pen name.
Okay.
Your nom de plume.
Yeah, sorry. One of the craziest things was we had these down in the factory. I was working in these things called catcher processors, and they're going to run probably 175 feet to 200 feet long. That's about how big the boat is. They've got a captain and a mate that work opposite 12-hour shifts. Everybody works 12-hour shifts on these boats. So It's not short days. It's hard, long work. They're working their butts off. And so you've got, in addition to those guys, then you've got like the bosun. He's the one that cleans stuff. He's like the,
like a navigator?
Yeah.
Like more of a
Lucas,
manager?
check that word for me. I don't think that's right. Bosun.
I think bosun's
I don't
like
want to say
ranked.
Yeah, he's like a crew guy.
Mm-hmm.
What's the janitor? But it's not janitor. It's
not the chef.
Steward.
Steward,
maybe,
yeah,
on a commercial boat. So then you've got that guy, and he kind of like gets everybody's stuff, whatever. And so then you have the chef, the cook guy, and maybe his assistant. And then you've got the Japanese fish crew. And these are the guys that are running the friggin' show.
This is up in Alaska.
Yeah, this is, oh yeah.
Is that what?
You're wanting Alaska, right?
Yeah, whichever
Alaska's
one. I'm just like clarifying. They're Japanese.
All the shebang.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We only have Americans involved for ownership. It's run, and I mean, there's on the big guys, on the big factory boats, which is what one of these was. There's what's called a fish master.
Mm-hmm.
And he's probably 75, 80-year-old Japanese dude, smokes a cigarette and
super
very
wise.
Sexy, very
stereotypical.
Yeah. Didn't speak any English whatsoever. He's paid by the company, but he's not the captain. He can't be the captain.
He's the master.
But
he's the fish master.
The captain does what he says.
Right. He's the money man.
And then he's got his 5 guys, and those are the fish techs, and they all stay in the same room. It's very interesting.
Is it clicky?
That's another subchapter.
Is it clicky?
Well, they're 5 like fully Japanese, fully speaking. I mean, I got to eat, some of the best food because they're going to serve those guys. I mean, that's where I got to first use like furikake and all the different, that's rice seasoning.
Okay.
And I did see some of that other dude. Edit that out. And,
she saw lots of seasoning.
Yeah, lots. And all different flavors. But I mean, it's like, authentic. They're eating at very specific times of the day. So yeah, in that way it's clicky. I mean, they're the only one, and they're the ones that are like, I mean, we were dealing with like 200 metric ton cod ends, I mean, so like massive things and this is going to lead to what I was going to tell you about, but these are big catcher processors are staying out for as much as 90 days. That's the limit that you can keep a Federal Observer on board every day without them downloading data, hard data.
Wow. Okay.
We're transmitting data every day through satellite at that time. I actually was using a sat phone at the time. It's crazy.
There you go.
And that conversation where I called my grandma, that was a hard one because I was like, "Hey, grandma, it's a bit
right." You're like,
yeah. Well, and the language, everything. So we basically, where was I?
The long instruments, the tools that you were using. You said you like.
Oh
the
yeah,
nets.
well, so it's just we're talking it's a huge cod in. So there's like 5 guys that are wrestling it, controlling all of that mostly, and then there is definitely American crew that's kind of their complement. That's the bosun guy. That's like the your main guys. A lot of those guys are Samoan. Okay, so a lot of our guys, I'll say, are Samoan guys. Okay, and they because they're just so they're strong and agile.
Illusions.
And, yep. And then you have like 30 other dudes, and those are the guys that work in the factory, and that is on board, baby. We did not go to land for 90 days.
That blows my mind.
Yeah,
no land, 90 days. No land, 90 days.
Wow.
So we are catching and processing. And when they fill the pans with the fresh caught and semi-filleted, we head and gut certain things, whatnot. It goes in a pan and they do what's called a freezer break. And they're going to put everything goes into the freezers. And then that's when everybody is basically like time on the line, and you go in and you're breaking out all of those frozen blocks of fish. And then they're going into the hold. And then now the freezers are empty again and we keep catching fish.
Wow.
And usually, the norm is that from the beginning of your shift until the end of your shift, 12 hours later, in the belly of a catcher processor, you are getting fish and cutting or processing fish in some capacity for the full 12 hours. Every now and then, you finish what's in the tank.
Yeah.
And we called that the live tank where everything dies. It's called a live tank.
It's a live well. It's a live well, but they just die. They die well.
Yeah. And it's like one that like you can sit in the corner in and not shout across. It's big, Yeah. So that's where they dump the cod end. But frankly, by the time the cod end gets dumped up there, it's been drugged for so long and the pressure is so much and so it's like it goes into that. And then there's these 2, I don't know what they're called. I would call them scupper holes. but not the kind that are going off the side of the boat. These are just coming off the bottom of the live well on either side on a
like some portholes. Yeah,
I'm gonna get to that crazy story in a second.
You're good. This is essential.
The conveyor belts, right? Oh no, well, because I'm sitting here in the middle.
Well, people have to realize too that these are massive ships. I mean,
like I said, about 200 feet.
Yeah, these are 200 feet. So
it's hard to.
It's a lot going on one of these things.
Yeah. And so you've got
conveyor belts.
Yeah, conveyor belts are kind of feeding to catch 1 by 10, out of the little hole, however they come. And if it's a prohibited species, they have to keep that on the conveyor belt, and it's supposed to be fed out of a scupper, out of a scupper hole.
That's where you're stationed.
I'm somewhere nearby, probably, if it's a sample for me. Okay. I have got a random sampling schedule that I've already set up, like a good observer, and I care about. That's right. It's got to be truly random in order to be defended and all that.
That's right.
And out there, they're very particular about it. Like if they don't see blood and like fish scales on your paperwork, they're like, was this transcribed?
Right.
That's right.
Which makes it like out here, they don't give a shit about that. And I'm just like, really?
Yeah, I bet that was a wake up call.
I've said a number of times, like if I had conducted my master's research, like they accept data on the East Coast for the East Coast Fisheries Program, which is why I kind of believe it's not really for management to a certain extent. It's really more as oversight, because I never would have graduated.
Yeah.
I mean, I never, there's
the
no random, sometimes it's just like the same poor bastard that lets you get on his boat every day because you've got days to cover. And, and it's like, God, I feel so bad. You get it. I mean, it's like, it sucks. So like your dad would probably be that guy. He'd be like, come on, Kristin.
Well, that too, but because I've worked for the government for so long that I understand like how the government can be sometimes as well.
I mean, it's like there are certain that government is awesome in certain ways. Great. There are ways it could be modified sanely,
That's right.
Was that another fish joke? A sane net.
Oh, see? Okay. All right.
You're filled with them.
I got it. And so let's see. So the accident we're building to it, the biggest accident I saw, and I saw a lot of them, but the biggest accident, and this is like, I mean, if you wanted to research it, you could probably find out about it. Yeah. I was actually on a boat where this guy, now this may not be, but I'm going to tell you about what happened on the sister ship while I was out there. So it did not happen to me. I don't want anybody, I did not witness it firsthand, but oh my God, I just said hand. So this guy gets his hand cut off completely, severed it completely on.
How far off the coast were you?
We were in the Aleutian Islands. We were probably like 2.5 hours from
port.
We were all way out. Yeah.
I bet.
I mean, they like couldn't get the Coast Guard to come out because it was a crazy scene. They were feeding that guy like all kind. But the thing was, it was such a clean cut, y'all. They reattached his hand.
No, they did not.
They reattached it, and he had use of it. It was crazy. It was insane. It was insane. My boat had to go alongside and pick up the observer to get her off because they were going to be like super delayed, and she has to be back before. I mean, it's like there's a lot of shit they got to pay attention to. But what was crazy about it, and so how it happened was it's very simple. I mean, you've got this conveyor belt, and there's a guy standing here, which is why I keep doing. There's a guy standing here and a guy standing over here. If it's a full live tank where everything dies, and fish are coming out, and this guy's job is to kind of line up the fish in the right direction so that the head's going one way and the body's going up onto the table. Yeah. And then the next guy, or that same guy, depending on how busy it is, feeds the fish through a rotary saw. And the boat listed, and it listed the other way, and he caught himself on that conveyor belt and just rolled his hand right through. Hand goes off with the heads of the fish. Observer grabs hand. Okay. No, I wasn't on I wish it was me.
That would have been epic.
I wish it was
the observer. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
You wish it was. You want to catch the dead ants?
I would. I got it. I would. Okay, so
I know you would. That's
the best
awesome.
thing is that for like it was hours. It was like, seriously, they took him. I think they did the surgery in like Seattle, and so that's the part where I'm saying like I think that if you like. If you really are bored, let us know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was, I mean, that was incredible.
Yes.
It's crazy out there. It's gnarly. I mean, well, what they call it is sporting.
Sporting?
Yeah. The things that we, I mean, these waves are like shifting entire wheelhouses just with a sporting wave, and it's like, it's insane. So yeah, you see a lot out there, that's for sure. And I've got many
that's a great story.
More stories, but just that one, I mean,
I love that. So
crazy.
you get you see the difference between East and West Coast, which I've never heard of. I never had considered, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And you get frustrated, right? Because you're not making an impact.
Well,
or your recommendations or suggestions are not.
For the East Coast, yeah. I mean, it was just like I was growing bored of, as I would have called it, working for the man, being frustrated that, I'm just not in a management circumstance. I'm the only person down here that actually has this knowledge and this connection. And so it's not being put to use, et cetera, et cetera.
More like you were just kind of like checking a box now and you weren't actually having your hands into it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I loved living on the shore, and I loved, if the striper were running, I was going to go fishing, and I didn't have an office to go to. I drove around and made my own schedule, and
That's awesome.
my office was, all of these different areas where I could go and talk to the watermen,
Yeah.
And so fast forward to when the grant got, or whatever, some of the money dried up around, when the economy was drying up and all that, and the housing, right? So, it was
2008.
Yeah. Well, no, it was like 2000. I mean, we started our roasting company in 2006. Yeah, I guess it may have been. I mean, whatever that last year was of Bush, I think is when that was. Because we started the company a little bit before that, but not too much more. So I started the company in 2006. And basically I was just like, I'll keep doing this, but something's sketchy and something's going up, and I don't know what is. And so I was like, I just want to start doing something on my own. And Jamie and I were talking about, I was like, I wonder about just kind of, we kind of had like little side businesses, because my freedom of not being able to not going to the office allowed me to like do the farmer's market. So we used to make salsa, and Jamie would he's a welder. And so by trade. And so he would do these little, we called them iron metal artworks, and,
Nice.
And so we did stuff like that. So one time I was down
creating a network of people, right?
Well, yeah. I mean,
you didn't realize it, but you were.
We were. We had gotten to know some people like that. And I had, because I lived here for a year before I met Jamie. He was coming here.
Jamie's
from here originally, but had been living in Salt Lake City, ironically 1 block away from my best friend. Yeah, no, our best friends it's crazy.
That's the world. That's the universe, man.
He was back here, going to move his dad out of the cabin that we live in now, that they built in the late 80s and late 70s, I should say. And so he ended up, we met like the second night he was back here. And so, I mean, that was very much kismet. And again, that's another, sort of a thing. But needless to say, after a few years of like doing the kind of the crafty thing, like he was doing, I mean, he was shedding blue crabs, and he was, he had come back here with a little bit of cash, but he was working on the water, doing blue crab stuff up in Red Bank and stuff like that. Yeah, just doing whatever. Yeah. And then we would do, like I said, we would do some farm markets and stuff like that. And then I was down in Wanchese at a coffee shop, like super early in the morning, waiting for, it was time to go to like, go down to the docks or whatever, or maybe it was after. And I'm sitting in this coffee shop, and it was so early, and I was looking up, and I remember seeing like just a shelf up top with all these like bags of coffee sitting around. And I remember thinking, my God, it's like, you should be the one roasting the coffee and not the one that has to like schlep it at 6 o'clock in the morning,
Right.
I mean, it's like, and then I was like, there's not a coffee roaster on the Eastern Shore, and when I say Eastern Shore, I think Virginia.
Yeah. Like, I don't even know if I know another like local coffee roaster.
Ameren that just opened a couple years ago.
So this is back in 2006. All respect to Ameren, of course,
right.
but
nothing.
And then Rise Up came along up the road in Maryland. But yeah, still, I mean, up until Ameren brought their roasting facility up to Chincoteague, we've been, as I said on our tagline, the original coffee roaster of the Eastern Shore of Virginia. So I put that on there because I was like, well, we'll always be that even as others come,
Yeah,
so,
exactly. And all of your products are coming from, because I thought this was super cool, right? We stopped by. If you ever drive by down 13, what day do you guys roast? I can smell
We're
it.
roasting generally on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And I can smell the amazing aroma. It's like incredible. But you get them from a specific, or how
where do you source your beans?
Yeah, like how did you
source your beans?
Where do you get your beans? How did you set up that like partnership, and like, I don't know, what are the logistics of that?
Well, when in part of our travels, Jamie's dad at the time had moved back down to, this is while I was still an observer, or while I was still in fisheries stuff. And we're kind of in research mode for the coffee roasting company. I'd settled on, I knew I wanted a roaster that was like manufactured on the East Coast and stuff like that. So it'd be kind of time zone. I just anticipated lots of problems all the time, So it's trying to be savvy because I like it. And we did not have we're not money people at all, and no investors and stuff like that. We totally bootstrapped on our own. And
that's
it's
awesome.
like I didn't have the option or the luxury of throwing
you had
money
to
anywhere.
literally learn as you were going
1,000%,
through. Like that, I respect that.
And when it comes to I'm definitely that file cabinet will do, it's like, I don't need, and aside from a couple of things like the roaster or whatnot, but even then we opted to end up getting something from a company called Ambex. They were in Clearwater, Florida, and they sent us a list of other companies, just as like a testimonial sort of a list. And one of the guys, Dan Brown, may he rest in peace, was had been a longtime coffee roaster that owned New Bern Coffee Roasting Company in New Bern, North Carolina. And New Bern was like the last groovy little stop that we would hit before we'd go visit Jamie's dad. And of course, we were going through there a lot at that time because I was always going down to North Carolina for fishery stuff.
Yeah.
And so New Bern was the obvious choice for us for picking that person to see if we could maybe come and see their roaster in action and sort of a thing. And, the only thing I have to say about Don is he was your typical, he was like a gastro guy. He was like a cigar and wine aficionado. You went into his home, which was this little boutique thing down by the water in New Bern. And he wore, the button front caps and Argyle sweater vest, and there were duck decoys everywhere. And he didn't serve anything without he was
the real deal.
He was, it really, and he was like a history teacher. And that was the big thing with him, is he loved to convey knowledge. So as soon as he kind of had us figured out, Jamie and I, which doesn't usually take people very long, and they're either, don't want us anywhere near them or they're going to be in love. So, isn't that right, Lucas?
Yeah.
And he was like, I remember he told us, he was like, if you guys were anywhere close to me, in competition, I'd tell you to get lost.
Yeah.
But he became our mentor. He's who our mentor is.
Wow.
And I learned a lot from him. I do a lot of things different than he did, but some of our base, when you said who did we, he used Coffee Holding Company, so I used Coffee Holding Company. He used North Atlantic Specialty Bags for bags, and I use North Atlantic Specialty Bags. Now, next year, Jamie and I have 20 years in this company here on the shore.
Yeah,
that is so cool.
And so now I've been using those companies for 20 years.
Yeah.
And he had been prior to that. So one of the things that situates a company that does have some longevity like that, and it's not something that a company that's not been around, but it truly is. It's you have these long-term relationships and resources and a level of confidence. It's well, if I don't know that, I know, I can make 2 or 3 phone calls and find out who, and as a result, I really only have to worry about buying coffee, bags and taking really good care of Kristin and Jake, who do the majority of the production work at the shop now. I mean, they basically do all of it.
And we just had a map up of the locations that that your product is found in. Amazing coffee. Cannot say enough about
Fog
it.
cutter has always been my favorite. I've had so much of that. It's not even funny.
all the names are like super appropriate.
And I love how you're doing this now and how you're kind of like the oyster can type.
Yeah, we introduced those.
I love that.
We introduced those a while back. I do all the graphics myself, so it's kind of like it helps my brain just like get ideas and stuff out. So, like I taught myself how to do Adobe Illustrator in order to create the crab logo. And
really?
I literally used a textbook with a black and white like image of a crab laying in a dissecting pan.
I took
an image of that and then like created the blue crab image from it.
You're very resourceful.
That one actually, technically, that version of it was the first one. But all the different blends mostly started. I mean, we mostly started with Zoe's Decaf, and that was to feature the Eastern Shore SPCA, and then Machipongo Morning, which was to feature the Barrier Island Center and Machipongo and Oyster Rose for the Waterman's Memorial, that kind of thing. So
speaking of Machipongo,
we were trying to create an affinity around local
and you've
places.
Got Chincoteague,
is it Chincoteague Sunset? Yeah. Speaking
of Machipongo, one of the places that you can find your product is the trading company, which I didn't know that you were involved in.
Yeah, we created the trading company. Yeah, I started the trading company. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I get full credit for Carol for what it is now. I get all the credit for that because Carol Sabo was a very good customer of mine, and she's the owner of it now. She's been the owner of it since January 1st of 2011 now. Wow. So that's another fantastic legacy here. I'm just really proud of the trading company. She'll tell you that I had systems in place which made it easy for her. I mean, she is such a smart woman anyway. I mean, she owned she was running at the time, and I think now she's finally out of it completely. But for a long time, while she even ran the trading company, she was still managing her own veterinary practice out in horse country over in Western Virginia.
Really?
Manassas area. And so she was pre-retiring to the shore, and that's how we met. So she had a house that her parents lived in Cape Charles, and she was in the process or had just bought a home, and slowly but surely, all of the kids, her siblings, have moved to the shore to Cape Charles to be closer to the parents, And this, like I said, many years have gone by now. But her sister Beth Ann is the one that does Eastern Shore Dog. She's a great dog trainer and worked for the BIC for a long time, and she's always working at Peach Street Books, and that's where her brother Ed also works. So and they opened Peach Street Books.
This is exactly why you are a community leader, because you know everybody.
Well, and
a lot of people.
That service part of me. I mean, I just like to, and so with the trading company, that property there was the original site for the Machipongo Clam Shack. And so when Jamie and I had the initial conversation with Gene Mariner, one of the owners of the Clam Shack, about, hey, would you want to do anything with that space? She was still holding the lease for it and in kind of an open, kind of treading water with it, because they had moved up to that McDonald's location. And so they kind of had that in a little stasis, so we approached her to see if she might be interested in doing something like the trading company. And we set out initially in a partnership with her, and shortly thereafter we just went ahead and ran it ourselves. And so we started that in 2008, and we ran it all of 2009 and 2010. And at the end of that was just a tough year. My son had been born like 3 months premature. My husband's father had passed, and it's like a lot. And we're running the wholesale coffee roasting company, but also the trading company company at the time, Jamie and I were going up every Saturday to Temperanceville and selling peanuts because we had this We're Shore Nuts, this peanut roasting gig on the side.
Nice.
And like doing this community newsletter that was called The Buzz, which was all supposed to be education, entertaining, and enlightening. And it just had tide tables and jokes and stuff, so very much community. And, and that's what's really built our trust, the community's trust in us.
And I think that's huge
integrity.
here.
So yeah, it's a big deal to us too, for sure.
Well, see, I love that because, I grew up on the shore, but I left in 96 and I didn't come back until 2008. And so around about that time when you guys were getting established is when I came back to the shore. And so it's just kind of cool because I got to see how you were growing in the areas and doing the things that I saw when I was younger. I like took to it right away. Like, man, these are pretty cool guys. Like they've got some stuff going on and they actually care about the shore. And they're not even, and so I appreciate, I just want to say, I appreciate that.
Thanks, man. Yeah, no, I appreciate that a lot. It's definitely, it's kind of who we are, for sure. And it was really nice because, Jamie has a connection to, what we'd call around here, like the old guard, like some of these old timers in the best way. Right.
He's not a come here, so.
No, yeah. he's definitely from here, but like, I like to call us belong here's.
Belong here's. There you go.
That's good.
So
I'm going to use that.
Yeah, but I like to give myself credit because I say, I'm from the actual South in Mississippi.
That's right.
And so I came up this way,
That's true.
And
so,
Lucas is from the deep South.
Yeah,
he's from Brazil,
from
so
way down there. It gets further south than Mississippi for sure.
Right.
But the flora and fauna of
nice
of the shore is so identical to coastal Mississippi,
really?
The Gulf of Mexico. Oh yeah, I mean, all the same sorts of critters and everything. So
that's cool.
For me, it's a very familiar scene.
Salt marsh,
and I did my graduate research down in Ocean Springs, Mississippi.
Okay,
and
that's awesome. So you are on the Eastern Shore. You've kind of like nestled into this business and this this community. What other sorts of things do you like to do to enrich the community?
Yeah. So I mean, during all this time, for a long time, it's just been Jamie and I, really. Only in we've next year will be 20 years, and I'll say it's only been in the last 6 years or so that we've had. It's not been just Jamie and I producing like every last bit of the stuff. So didn't do much up before, up to a certain point, but that,
Yeah.
And so really what I've tried to do as I've, been able to have a little bit more time to do other creating where I could, it's usually in an attempt to keep my hands busy because I like to eat cheese. And so at a certain point, I did have a kid.
What kind of cheese? Hold on. Hold the phone. What's your favorite kind of cheese? Rank your top 3 cheeses right now.
I mean, I like a good funky cheese. So I do like a really good blue cheese. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Blue cheese with walnuts and a tawny port. So that's a good combo right there.
I just got back from Jacksonville seeing my brother and we were doing trivia and it was like, what in Trader Joe's is there? There can be between 50 and like 2,000 brands. Some old, some new, some blue.
Oh, there you go.
Cheese.
Okay.
So, all right. So you're doing blue cheese is your number
blue cheese.
one.
I don't know if I could rank them in order necessarily.
Okay, that's fine.
But I'd have to go with like a smoked provolone or something like that.
I can get down with that.
Something that's not too hard, not too soft, but nice and slicey. I like a good thin slice that doesn't crumble under the knife. I don't want it to be too thick.
Yeah.
I like it to.
Absolutely.
And then, I mean. Bree would be upset with me if I failed to mention her. She's been good to me.
She's been really good.
Yeah.
This is so cool. We had Ted Shockley on here, who he is the self-proclaimed master of processed meats.
Yeah.
And now you're on here as the queen of cheeses.
Yeah,
so I love that. I love this.
So one of the things that I was
just somebody who enjoys it a great deal.
No, I love it.
Mainly thinking of was your involvement with a ukulele group.
Yeah. So leading to that, and in order to keep my hands from being full with cheese, I picked up an ukulele that my son had recently been given. I was 38 when I had my kid, so that was 2009. So he's 15 now. So probably when he was like, I don't know, 3 or something like that, he was over at Margaret Van Cleef's, who is our local
we should have her
outreach.
On this
you
That's
must have Margaret. She's the outreach coordinator for Nature Conservancy, and she will have so much wonderful information to bestow. So Margaret had an ukulele that her mom had given her, a wonderful little green ukulele, which drew Waylon's eye. Nothing fancy, and so she didn't mind him playing with it. But in my absolute fear that he was going to just, crack it over the floor, she said he could just have it. Don't worry about it. So we took it home, and he messed with it a few other times, but one night I just picked it up in an effort to keep my hands busy. And I've played in bands, I've done music like that, but I've never played a stringed instrument. And my dad played guitars. And so I had like a big Yamaha, like an acoustic Yamaha, but it was so big.
It's so hard to play.
Well, but it was just too big for me.
For you, yeah.
And I never knew that there were different sizes necessarily. I knew there was an ukulele, which was the small version of a guitar. And then I knew there was a giant guitar and maybe something, but I thought that anyway. So, I was like, oh, well, I wonder about this. And so it was obviously kind of easy to hold. It was kind of a soprano. And I just got online and looked up some chords, or I probably ordered that Ukulele One chord book or something, And then I just set to it because that's the way I can learn, is just through, repetition. And taught myself some chords, but because I love music so much and I'm kind of percussive naturally, and so strumming kind of came easy to me. And then I'm like a friggin' psycho jukebox.
You can remember
person.
songs,
Like sometimes, as Charlie can attest to, I'll get sometimes I have a problem like getting too fixated on the way something sounds, in my memory of something. For better sometimes, or for worse, it's just so. But because of those things, strumming and singing came kind of naturally. And so I was messing around with that one night, and I, finding favorite songs that I liked, and then, filling up my ultimate guitar. Right. Yeah. And I'm like, ooh, now I'm going to play,
what else can I play?
And so,
play some Skinnerd, man.
Well,
Freebird.
I'm more like, do they have Aha on here? Or and then I'm like playing like something Led Zeppelin, and like, and so, at one point I'm like, I was just messing around, and my husband was like, hey, babe, you're pretty good.
You sound pretty good.
Yeah, he was like, you should get yourself like an actual ukulele,
I would like to point the attention for the audience towards your pronunciation of that said instrument.
Yes, I was going to say the same thing.
It could be pretentious to certain people, but I don't know. I also am a gyro person.
Okay.
And I won't say the other word. Unless we're talking about,
gyros.
Yeah.
That's right.
Gyroscopic things.
Yes,
when I was in Hawaii, that's one of the things that guy said, just like the whole Nevada story. I was out one night and he's like, no, it's ukulele.
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 Like a big old Samoan dude. And I was like, yes, sir.
Okay.
Ukulele.
All right.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm somewhere in between.
Yeah, I think a lot of people call them ukuleles, right?
We do say uke. I mean, very easily. We don't say ook. We would think we were weird if we said ook.
Yeah, that's true.
Give me that ook.
But yeah, so I went out and got myself a Luna, which is a great beginner ukulele. Well, it's a great ukulele, I think, in general. It's
absolutely
pretty accessible, I think, from a price point. And messed around with that. It was a concert, so I got one like a little bit bigger because I felt like the soprano was a little small for me.
Yeah, so there's 3 different sizes? There's
I think there's a sopranissimo, and there may be even like a super sopra.
What?
Supra, so there's the soprano, which is like your Tiny Tim, right?
Yeah.
That's what most people might be familiar with. And then the one smaller than that is what did I say? Smaller.
So we've got soprano.
Yeah, and then I think
smaller.
sopranissimo. I think there's 2 smaller than that, actually. Okay, so going up from the soprano, then you go to the concert, which is tuned and playing the exact same way. And then you go to a a tenor. And the tenor is played and tuned the exact same way. Mm-hmm. And then you go to a baritone, which is, after I've spent $350 on a baritone ukulele, I found out is in fact not tuned or played the same way. I was like, why does this not sound like what Charlie's playing or whatever?
Well, it wasn't last.
No,
so we're in the band is called the Sonic Ukes. No, the Sonic Ukes. There's our logo. It's beautiful.
Nice.
And the last time we were out it was 2 times in Richmond ago.
Yeah.
Is when you bought it, I think.
Yeah.
And we were sitting down to do like a nightly strum, and you were just like, why isn't this sounding right? And I didn't know. I didn't know what was going on. And then I was like, she's got a baritone.
Yeah.
But
lovely.
the baritone is tuned like a guitar instead, right? And so we as the Sonic Ukes are trying to create sort of like I don't want to call it an orchestra, but like we have players that for every make and model.
That's it is, awesome. I think. I mean, one of the things that I think makes us different is that we are trying to fill like a stereo bandwidth of, you know what I mean? It's kind of like a many layers of sound. Mm-hmm. Instead of us all just being
like the Grateful Dead of Ooks.
Yeah. Well, we play a lot of Grateful Dead.
We do. Yeah, it's good. It's good. And so basically I played around for a little while, taught myself as much ukulele as I thought I could. And
yeah, how did it? What
well, happened? It's really easy. I mean, I taught myself as much as I thought I could, and then I was like, if I'm going to get any better, I've got to get like in front of an instructor. Mm-hmm. And then my next line of thought is like it often is, but I don't have any money. You know? And so I was like, who do I know that, okay, well, Bo. Now, Bo Lusk, he's a coastal scientist for the Nature Conservancy and is an eelgrass specialist. And the shore's lucky to have him.
I grew up with Bo.
Okay.
And both his brothers.
He can vouch
very
then.
Well.
Mm-hmm. They're all fantastic people. I feel blessed to have him as a dear friend. And so in thinking of a way that I could spend more time with my dear friend, Bo, in a way that both his wife and my husband would not mind, I was like, right. I'm going to start an ukulele group.
That's awesome. That is so
nice.
And so I got, it was me and him, and then Allie Tarwater, who is an instructor and a teacher, and I did not know her that well. Okay, so at the time she was the music instructor at Broadwater Academy. She's now up in Vermont, also as a music teacher. She and her husband Jeremy. Gerber. And so
who eventually
joined the Ukes as well. Yep. And so kind of at the beginning there, it was me and Bo Lusk and Peg Volk, a local musician here, brilliant guitarist. Like if you're in the music scene at all, or if you listen to live music on the shore, I do
want to have her on as well.
Oh yeah, you guys she's in does some great stuff around here. So she's the one responsible for starting, I don't know, but certainly maintaining the first Wednesday that happens, the live music at the Clam Shack.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to there, it was down at the Chesapeake Bay.
The KOA down there?
No, I was going to say Chesapeake Bay Cafe. That's Sheridan. It's the one that was Robin's Place down in the main drag in Cape Charles back in the day. But anyway, now it's at the Clam Shack there in Nassauatics, and it's the first Wednesday. She does that all the time. So she was involved. Allie, and then Allie pulled in Ashley. And Ashley's the director of the ESO here, right, that we are sitting in. And so I knew Ashley only because my mom does some theater and Ashley has done as well. And so they were kind of cross paths. So I knew who she was, but to me, she was just like this out of reach, beautiful, attractive, lean woman who I'd never, she's just like, she's so incredible. I mean, she's like this angel, a dancer's body and just awesome. And so, but I didn't, we have a very wonderful friendship now, many years later. And it's just been so cool. It's weird to think about the time when like she would have first come into that place and I didn't really know her like I do, you know? And so, it was her. And I mean, Jeremy, like you said, joined in not too far after.
I think Lauren Everidge was in there for a little bit.
Yep.
But then
we had several people. Ted Shockley's daughter.
Oh yeah.
Yep. McKay Shockley was in it. I mean, incredible voice. Yeah. She's so good. So we've had like this larger like group, and we always called ourselves the Sonic Ukes. We got to the point where it was pretty clear, and we were kind of practicing, and it was a lot of people were coming to our. We were doing like these weekly things or once every couple of week things. But obviously some people are more regular than others, you know, and some people, it was very clear, like, we're like, I don't want to perform in front of anybody, you know, whereas there were some of us that were like, we would totally gig, like, you know, and do bands and stuff. And that's always been a bucket list thing for mine. Although I wouldn't have vocalized it, you know, in public for a long time, you know, but that's been a total dream come true. And it's another, I mean, you know, manifesting is the real deal, man. You know, you just put it out there and visualize it and it happens.
Just like this.
For sure. Absolutely. 100%. So, we just kind of went along. We went to our first ukulele, festival of sorts, and we learned a lot, i.e. separate your performing group from your jam group. Yeah. Because you can only get to a certain point of where the person that knows the least is, sort of a thing. And we were trying to my other thing too, and this goes back to like reputation in the community. Not that reputation, that kind of seems like a strong word, but like I wanted to follow through. I am not a gimmick person. I'm a total goofball. I mean, like I'm a nut, but I'm not gimmicky and I'm honest to a fault, you know? And so the idea that I remember when it first hit me was at the Island House had offered us like $500 to play. And I was like, oh my God, we've got to be so good, you guys. Yeah. This is not a joke. I was like, I'm not going to embarrass myself. We are not going to have people that are like, and it has taken me a long time. I mean, a lot of times one of my brains is like, we can be in the middle of a performance and one of my brains will be like, all of these guys hate you. They're only up here because they feel obligated. After all these years, they're just still here feeling obligated. You know, so that was like a big deal for me. So we basically said at that point, anybody who can play all of the songs that we play, can be in the Sonic Ukes. And that became 7 people, Jeremy and Allie had to leave and go up to Vermont, and the Sonic Ukes for the last 3 years at least has been really the 5 of us. Okay. And so what we've turned into now is from a ukulele band or like a group, you know, into a band for sure.
Yeah, a cover band.
You know,
absolutely.
I mean, because we're able with we practice every week for the most part. We really, going back to like what he was saying about how, you know, it's like an orchestra. I mean, we tried to bring, and we've had people tell us, I think it's great. It's like the musicianship is really good because we really do try to have, I don't know, striations is also the word, you know, what I'm trying to say. Yeah. It's just like, you know, and over the last, you know, 2 years, Ashley and I have really gotten more into like our vocals and stuff, harmonies, and our harmonies. Yeah. I mean, like, it's markedly improved.
Yeah. They'll spend like a half an hour on one verse of a song trying to figure out the harmonies. That's right. Cool, and it's just like,
So when's the next performance going to be? When y'all scheduled to play again?
So our next performance, great segue, David.
Yeah.
Our next performance is actually going to be the festival that we're putting on. This is our second festival. It seems weird to say second annual. Our first one was right? 2019, 6 years ago. It was before COVID, and it was a roaring success, and it was so great. And then we were all planned to go for 2020, and then
everything was shut down.
Yep. And so we were trying again, I think 22 or something like that, but it just, logistically it wasn't working really well.
So here's what we need to do. Two things. First is we've got to publish this episode and get it out there beforehand, however quickly we can do it, which I think we could.
Yeah,
we keep it clean. But the second thing is that
chop.
It's not gonna happen.
So well then okay. So then hear me out about
this. A
this.
little quickie?
Hear me out about this. I think that we actually need to do the Inlet there too as well, and set up shop and actually be on site and talk to people that come in and performers
that would
and different
be cool.
things.
You got plenty of room up front.
All right,
front room.
That's gonna happen then.
So I think that would be really, really cool to do.
Oh, that'd
Sweet.
be killer, dude. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And we talked about having something.
Yeah, we
like
have,
that.
because we want to go on site like to different people's houses and stuff too, but we actually want to go on site to something like this.
But dude, for us to have like little comments from people that are attending.
Yes.
And then we can use that for future stuff for like if we'd be able to.
You're always thinking. Always thinking.
You know? Call that cross marketing, right? Cooperative marketing.
So June 13th to the 15th.
Which is Father's Day.
Yep, Father's Day weekend.
Ooh, okay.
It has we can talk about this past tense if you want to.
Yeah.
I'll make an effort to publish beforehand.
Okay.
It's
we're just getting ready for next year.
Yeah.
We do expect this to be an annual event. So if you missed it this year,
come back.
You're not going to see it. Then come back, and we're probably
going to add some events.
Yeah, we're probably going to go for the same weekend generally as well.
So what are you expecting right now? Like what performers and stuff?
Well, right now we've got first of all we've got the festival itself is. I like to tell people that aren't familiar with what an ukulele festival is. Generally, it's kind of a Comic-Con for ukulele enthusiasts, and so it's reception type stuff, mingling with artists in more of a one-on-one capacity or one on a few. You might have an opportunity, like in a lot of bluegrass situations where they've got, it's a more of a workshop situation. The person's going to talk a little bit, maybe show you a little bit, that sort of a thing.
Okay.
So that's generally what's happening. The format has somewhat sort of been Friday night reception thing. We're going to have that. We're going to have the whole event at the Oyster Farm.
Housing can be provided?
No, at this point.
I mean, there's so many Airbnbs in Cape Charles.
Yeah, there's stuff all over Cape Charles. I mean, I don't know what the availability is going to be, but people can also just come if somebody's coming to the area that sees this and they're really just wanting to see a bit of it, then the Saturday night on the 14th is when to come. That's the live concert that's open to the public. That's one of the cool things about this festival. When I was planning, I just wanted to make sure that it was, I'm always thinking about introducing people to the shore, and then highlighting the small businesses that are here for anything that I would do. It just, and so basically Friday night, for the festival itself, we would probably cap it at about 75 attendees because we want the people that are going to be doing the workshops. It's more of a boutique experience for them. They're paying a ticket price to be able to come in Friday night, all day Saturday, and Sunday morning for a farewell jam. There's some light food and beverage available with that ticket price, so on and so forth. If somebody's interested, that's what in learning more about the ukulele or
Rob
being
Bridges.
in that.
Yeah.
Dude. Oh, yeah, he's
Robert's
our
bass player.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah, no,
man,
he's
that's so cool.
player.
Rob
Yeah.
works up at Wallops now, and I get to see him now. He and I grew up together too, and I haven't seen Robin forever.
He just graduated this weekend.
Yeah, he just
walked again and got some I don't know, it's like 5th degree or something like that.
Who knows?
Amazing. He's our bass player. So Friday night it's going to be like open mic, soiree, cash bar, hanging out, whatever, vendors, stuff like that, info on the shore, whatever. Saturday during the day from like 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. is workshops, box lunch type of a thing, community. People are going to be able to
things like songwriting.
We can talk about
like pedal board, like how to use a pedal board.
Go up to the top and you can see
I think there's a schedule of events.
Yeah. We've got a songwriting workshop. We've got an introduction to harmonies workshop. If you scroll down and
this is all made by Kristin, by the way.
And Ashley has been my partner for this, so we're definitely it's been a joint effort. And we have the guys for emotional support and work support on site
We're here
during
for
that
you.
time.
Yep. Just tell us what to do. Seriously.
We're going to hold on to that. So first thing we're going to do, Jess Elliott Meyer. She is an incredible vocalist, musician. I mean, she plays the guitar, the banjo, the fiddle. I mean, like washboard. She's multi-talent, clarinet. Like she does like jazz. She did an entire show, a series up in Maryland on Patsy Cline. I mean, so she's done like as Patsy Cline, you know, and incredibly talented. Her partner is Chris Owsley, and they're going to be performing together as the Jess and Chris duo. They used to perform. I'm going to blank out now.
Oh, what are they called?
I'll think of it in a second. I'm going to blank out. They had a band, and it wasn't just the two of them. It was like with their whole band and stuff like that. But they toured around a bunch. And he's doing Kentucky old time ukulele. He is an incredible guitarist and string instrument.
They're both.
And
really
that's their full time gigs. I mean, that's what they do. Besides be parents to 2 kids, I'm sure. I know that's a full time job. These cats, the Bird Watchers, are going to be doing Intro to Harmony. The majority of them, one of them has just recently moved to Richmond, but we lined up with them right after our first festival. And so I reached out to them about this one, but they're from Salt Lake City. So 2 of the guys are flying in from Utah for this. And they are really tight harmonies. You know, I am really looking forward to their set. Again, that's like what they do. We have Sky Zentz, Emmy award winning artist over in Norfolk. She's led ukulele groups. She's led poetry writings. She is all over the soundtracks of WHRO. She's written the little jingles behind like make the story of the earth, and every grain of sand we tell the story of the earth. You know, I mean, I think that's what it should be. Or like the water song. I mean, she's like doing stuff for WHRO kids and like saying, I mean, she's amazing. She was one of our headliners at the first one, and I've asked her to come back to be the MC so that I don't have to. And because she's amazing and she's just so fun, and
she's got great energy.
She does,
and
it's
what very playful.
Yeah, and what I like is like she's already reached out to the different artists that are going to be performing after, because at the concert, because she's like, I've been a performer and an MC, and like she wants to make it interesting for everybody. Like this is a product. The ukulele festival, or what we're doing, it's a product for everybody. It's like I want it to be special for the artists that are coming over here, because like I want them to go back to wherever they live and be like, you know what? The Eastern Shore of Virginia, y'all. I will play that shit for free for the rest of my life. That place is fan-friggin-tastic. Every single thing they said totally transpired. It was the coolest vibe. We got to sit on the beach at night and watch the sunset, you know, and so that's like my goal. And then I want her to have a wonderful time, you know, because we all think so much of her and we want her to do it again. I want the local community to just be like, this is so cool. It's something different than comes here, you know. And, you know, and I want the people who have paid the big bucks, the ticket holders, to come and feel like they're a part of all that, but they've also got their own special scene too, and something that's catered to them in particular in that boutique experience. So, you know, we're making sure that happens. So we've got the guys, Half Pint Harry from DC, are going to be here, and that's going to be they've got 2 ukuleles, a drum kit, and a saxophone. So we will be playing some things from Thunderdome, I'm pretty sure. It's like, and Ashley and I are going to be Tina Turner in it.
Really?
Yeah,
awesome.
No, I think we should. Yeah, a saxophone.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We need to do Baker Street as well.
Okay. You got it.
Yeah.
So can you go back real quick? Cause I want to show her something. So if you go back to the oyster farm picture,
but then typo. Did you find a typo?
No. I want to show you something because this means even more to me.
Oh, cool.
Because of this, if I guess, let's see, where's the picture real quick?
Scroll down. There you go.
So click over.
Beautiful venue though.
And so see this right here?
Yeah.
That's where my house used to be.
Oh, dang.
So Kings Creek Marina used to be right here. My dad owned Kings Creek Marina in the 80s and early 90s. And so I grew up here playing all in this So this is my home here.
I've got some beautiful pictures of Kings Creek that Jamie's grandfather took back in the day.
Do you really? Because I've been looking for those. I've been looking for those because I have paintings that my friends have given me over time. But yeah, we were there from the early 80s to the late 90s. This was my stomp. This is literally my stomping ground. This is where I learned a lot of different things.
I bet.
Some things I should not have done.
Tucked away.
But yeah, so again, I love the fact that this is happening because I love the fact what Cape Charles is doing. I love what's going on here, and I love what you're doing too.
I
This is cool
appreciate
stuff.
it. Well, I'll just put in a plug. Bay Creek is Oyster Farm, I should say. It's not Bay Creek. Those of you that have been around here, you'll forgive me for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Oyster Farm has been really good to us, and Nicole has been taking really good care of us. And so I think it's going to be great. We're going to be in this whole section here.
Nice. Okay.
And downstairs. And then the concert's going to take place on the lawn.
Beautiful.
Over here.
That's going to be beautiful.
Yeah. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, like starting Saturday
at 6 p.m.
6 till...
And we'll go kind of late. And it's the weekend right before the concerts in the park in Cape Charles start, which is nice. So there's not I'm sure there'll still be 1,000 things happening, but the free concert in the park won't be happening in the first one of those until the following week. So 6 to 11, probably, kids, all ages. It's definitely going to be fun. If somebody is listening that has like kids, make sure you bring them out on the early end because Sky, I think, is going to do something a little catered towards a younger crowd if they're there. And they're going to have some yard games, and we'll still have, at least a couple and a half hours of sunlight before we get the lights rolling on that awesome tent that ESO is going to sponsor with us, and that Lucas will probably be helping to put up.
And
that's cool stuff because my dad used to have some history here. So my dad used to have every Saturday during the summertime would have the band play at the main dock in the middle of the creek. And it was, do you guys know Frankie Russell?
Oh, I know Freshwater Frank.
It was Freshwater.
Have y'all gotten him in here?
It was Freshwater.
I was talking about some,
Yeah. So
that
it was
crazy.
Freshwater Frank and the Tackle Box Band. And because my uncle, my uncle Ricky Stiles was the bassist for them.
That's your uncle?
Yeah, so Ricky and Kenny.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm the Stiles boy from Cape Charles.
All right. Well, hardhead.
He's a
He's a hardhead offspring. I got you.
I am, and I'm proud of it.
That's sweet. I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Hard and proud.
That's right. Yeah, I love it.
Cape Charles Indians. Man.
Hardheads are is the name for the local. They're not like local watermen. They're not like troublemakers. They're just,
Cape Charles is a different place.
It's just a way of life.
It's just a way of the hardheads.
They never wore shoes and shirts during the summertime. They always carried a case of Budweiser, with them everywhere they went.
Standard.
And so again, that was some of the stuff that I was privy to growing up with and seeing, and a lot of different things. So yeah,
cool.
Yeah. And I just had to tell you that, just give you some of my background because we're just meeting tonight.
I know. That's what's crazy.
And that's why that's why I've been listening the whole time, because your stories are amazing. And I really thought when we started off, you started talking about being in Seattle in the early 90s and part of the original grunge scene and seeing those bands. That's where I thought that you got your kind of idea for running a coffee shop and the whole Seattle coffee thing. And but it was Wanchese, North Carolina.
Yeah, I know.
I was waiting for that, and you're not from Wanchese.
And in Mississippi, we didn't have Starbucks.
Right.
There was no. I never lived in a coffee culture area. I mean, I did it. I mean, I was technically in Seattle and stuff like that, but I wasn't I didn't live. When I lived in Salt Lake City, I mean, I was a little older. So when I was in that college scene, it wasn't a big city. So we weren't mingling at we were hanging out at bars. It wasn't coffee wasn't so
Let's
there
go grab
wasn't
a coffee.
There wasn't a Starbucks yet. And I mean, they were around, but mostly out west, and so that wasn't really a place where I was hanging out. You know? And so, and I just never was really in that scene. I mean, the biggest thing to me was I love coffee,
right?
And I love providing something. At the time, we started a coffee roasting company in order to provide our friends and local business owners with a product.
Love it.
Change is inevitable, and we are a more tourist facing place than we were when I first moved here.
Right.
But my initial intent was never to serve coffee to a stranger.
Yeah.
That was never part of, I mean, unless it was like for a stranger coming into Charlie's coffee shop, you know what I mean? I wanted Charlie to have a local option, and then it's just all about like supporting local. And I do want to say, like, never underestimate what it means to support a local business in your community. I mean, we's all paying the same taxes.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Regardless of what side of the aisle we're on, you know, I mean, we're all in this together. I'm really opposed fundamentally to, I don't mind boycotting big places. I think that some of these efforts locally to do some I'm really have a big problem with that, because we're all in the same, you know, you may choose that for and somebody that works for them is impact, you know, and all these things. So when it comes to the local base, like, I'm just fiercely protective about that, both in the community and from the standpoint of the small business owners. And
that's right.
And
in the wintertime, it's just us.
Yeah, that's right.
Pretty
yeah.
Much. You know, so I mean,
and
you gotta
and you know, I mean, which there's a lot of, you know, this just us was fine too, you know. I mean, and it is wonderful. I'm so glad that the Eastern Shore is getting the recognition that it deserves. But I also, you know, I'm always looking for holding on to authenticity.
We have to.
Yeah. So that's what my brand, the brand that Jamie and I've created, is really all about. That, you know, we still take checks from people. We leave stuff out, you know. I mean, it's just very old school in that way, you know. And hopefully that's what people get from even still when they go into the trading company, you know. I mean, they still continue that. It's an extension of that. And
well, you know, we have up at where I work now, which you can probably tell with the shirt that I have on. I left NASA after a long time and went over to Rocket Lab, and we don't have to put this in here. I just want to say though that we have New Zealanders and Australians and Scots and everybody from all around the world that drink a lot of coffee. And so I just want to say that we may be reaching out to you.
Yes.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Because we have a setup right there at work. You go in, you hit the grind button. It grinds.
And it grinds whole beans.
These guys are
That's
constantly,
your thing, right? You sell them ground, but you would prefer.
Oh yeah, I mean, whole beans the way, you know. I mean, I'd love to do nothing but 5-pound bags of whole bean coffee all day long. You know, it's like one label and
and these guys will go through in a launch putting a rocket up. They'll go through a 5-pound bag in a day.
I got a great rocket fuel label already. We did a long time ago.
That's awesome stuff.
For a guy that worked up that the guy that on I don't know what
rocket
the road
fuel.
is, but
that's
where
what you call it.
Where Slack Tide Coffee is.
Yeah.
So that's Caitlin Woods. Caitlin is a brilliant business owner and modest, and we've been roasting for her since the beginning of her shop there. Prior to her moving in there, the couple that owned that, they always wanted to have a drive-through coffee shop there. They never saw it to fruition.
Right.
But he's the one that I had created Rocket Fuel Blend for.
Okay.
Caitlin actually ended up coming through us more by way of our relationship and being a roaster for Wine, Coffee, and More, which is Carla Leonard and her husband
right there
Scott
on the main
up
drag.
in Chincoteague.
Yep. Yeah, I remember when they were trying to set up the drive-through coffee area. I was so happy to finally see that come to fruition, because there was always something that tried to be there in that corner, and that corner could be really big.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a good stop. But that's where I had first come up with that was with the guy that owned that property.
Oh, that's
She's
cool.
doing a
That's
great
cool
job.
backstory.
She's got a good spot there.
There is, and there's line there every day on both sides.
Yeah.
I see it every time I go into work.
She's awesome.
That's cool stuff.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm just super impressed, you know? I don't know. Seems like you're a jack of all trades sort of deal, you know? Like, and there aren't many people that can start an original business and, like, follow through and make, like, this sort of impact, I think is...
Well, just the fact at the end of the day, because I've always wanted to start my own business, and I just have never found that thing to really get going. But because I always look at it as I'm burning all these calories throughout the day, and it's going towards a company, an entity, an organization that when I go home, that it's not mine, and I'm burning all these calories towards these people, and I'm having fun, and I'm doing things which support the area, and I really enjoy doing it. But the end goal is to, when I'm burning my calories, it's to something that I've established, and after my footprint leaves the earth and I go wherever, is the fact that it's still here, or it was there, or it made an impact in somebody's life, and I had something to do with that. So with this podcast and wanting to highlight the people who are doing this, I see your passion, and I hear your passion, I feel your passion, and we want more of that too. And we want you to, we're going to help the local businesses out as much as possible, like yourself, to ensure that keeps going. And because you guys, I think it's one of the coolest things ever, what you're doing and all the different things you're doing, because I'm very envious, because that's what I want to do. So this is cool stuff.
Yeah. What sort of tips or pieces of advice would you have for like somebody starting a local business?
Well, this is a good segue.
This is your perspective,
just being
right?
on the podcast, like something legit, is kind of a bucket list thing for me, because, when I talked before about when I came here and I was doing my fishery stuff, and then I had to kind of leave that phase and then go do the coffee stuff and like kind of build that as a base and whatnot. And so that's kind of become my base revenue,
your identity.
Well, yeah. And so now I'm trying to be a little more like executive phase, and
nice.
And I really, and I'd love y'all's input, not necessarily in a recorded version of it, but I've one of the things I've really wanted to do is work on a keynote address, to do some public speaking down the line, to travel wherever that's, and really having gone through all of these variety of things, you guys might understand how, in my mind, narrowing down, or not narrowing down, but honing a message from me that is helpful to somebody, without seeming like it's not genuine, because I think that for me just to go and create a keynote speech around being a coffee roaster feels very limiting.
Right.
I see what
you're
saying.
I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do a whole keynote speech on Alaska either, unless it's after hours. And so when I think about that, it's something I've been thinking about a lot, is like what sort of advice. And one of the things, I'll give my little plug for AI or the devil. I'm not sure which one it is. It depends.
You really don't know.
It depends on, I think, how you use it, right?
That's right.
I think it's
we like to talk about AI in here.
I love it. And one of the ways I kind of act like I'm just talking to myself, really. It's like a higher self, and it's gonna kind of help me field some ideas. But as I've thrown ideas at it, whether it be for ukulele festival or, little names for the little office I'm doing in Eastville,
or even photoshopping Bo to sit on
ukulele. Yes. Yeah.
The photo.
Cigar smoking, cucumbers sitting in a sauna. We also go by the sauna cukes.
Sauna cukes, yeah.
And so AI's gotten to know me and all my facets. And one of the things that I've kind of tailored down is this idea of success can look like you, from a standpoint of, a lot of people spend a lot of time thinking a lot of things. And I think across life, I think everybody does the same. I like always said, if I could just have a place to do yoga or meditate in my house. And then it's like, oh, I know the room now. If I could just get it clean and get a couple of crystals in place. And that's just kicking the ball down the line, which I'm the procrastinator with the best of them, But I think that when it comes to business, or I think a lot of people think that the florist refrigerator has to come out of a cardboard box, or maybe the grill for the has to be brand new. My whole thing is really success can look like nothing that you see anywhere. It looks like you, as long as you have I don't like the word passion. I think it's overused.
Yeah.
As long as you have the drive and the interest, and really, I think if you're authentic,
that's where I'm going.
I think that just start now, don't be like, I gotta, and I hear what you're saying. It's like, technically I was still working for the National Marine Fisheries Service when I was starting to plan to be a coffee roasting company owner. Mm-hmm. And granted, there are always things that make a path easier for different people. I mean, things happen in life, right? And so I had the luxury, if you will, of not punching somebody's clock from 8 to 5. So I know it's really hard to look for a job when you're on somebody else's, in that kind of way.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes it can, and especially with technology these days, I mean, that was definitely something else. I couldn't have done what I've done in the business standpoint of actually, creating a lifestyle for my family and having my child us to be able to go and travel and do stuff and like actually have, the opportunity to be able to do that with some consistent revenue. That part of my experience required the technology that's available to us today, meaning my ability to quickly research something and find the best price on something, or just from a creative standpoint to be able to see, where does my idea compare? Is it already out there?
Right.
The ability to just go online and like do an LLC really fast, and there's a lot of things that I also recognize that they maybe don't seem like a hurdle to me, whereas they made it to other people. But I think that's still the biggest thing is that just if you are authentic about something and there's something you want to do, you just start being that.
Yeah.
It already looks successful. And I think a lot of people get hung up on, oh, but I don't know how to run a social media account. I mean, don't get me wrong. There is a shocking number of people on Facebook that I think at the end of a consulting session, I would just be like, sell everything right now. You're paying way too much. Did you look anywhere? Did you decide? Did you talk to anyone? Yeah. But I also was known for like working in a place where I made great commission on clothing sales, and the lady would walk out and I'd be like, don't know. And the lady would be like, you could have what? I'm like, no. So again, I just, I've always been the kind of person that's like, if I leave, if I spent the night at your house as a kid, the next morning your parents are going to be like, that Kristin girl, she can come over anytime she wants to.
Well, I think that's like super valuable. And I think
I'm still just like trying to have, I've shaken off a little bit of the gotta have people like me sort of a thing.
Yeah.
But, you get over 50 and you're just like, don't care so much. But, but that's kind of what
you're authentic with all of your community, like just being out and about, right? Mm-hmm. Going to
there's no ulterior motive really.
Elephant and octopus, right?
Oh yeah. Great dinner the other night, by the way, John Dempster. Thanks so much. The E&O.
Okay.
E&O Pub is the new manifestation of what was originally Kelly's Ginger Nut Pub, which I helped to open. That was during our farm market time. I was making a salsa, and Gene Kelly, with a fantastic name, had not quite opened the pub yet. He had already bought the bank building there, and they did some there was major amounts of work to be done. Yeah,
I bet.
Significant. And he would come and buy salsa from me all the time. And this is before the coffee roasting company. I was still just doing my thing. And then because I was working because I had the freedom of my main office being in Massachusetts or whatever, I told him, because I've been a server my whole life. I mean, that's what I've put myself through, whatever I've been in the restaurant business, and that in a server capacity. And so having done that a lot, and I really liked Gene a lot, and he was opening this pub, and I was like, have you ever ran a restaurant? And he's like, well, I was a bartender, and I know what I'm doing. But from that standpoint, and I was like, oh, well, I mean, do you want it to be bar food, or like, do you want it to be like a restaurant, like and make some money, or whatever? Not that you can't in a bar, but he was like, oh, no, I really want it to be nice service. So I I did the first hirings and staff manual and everything from the standpoint of the floor. I named it the stairwell and the pine room and the vault, and numbered the tables and set up pivot points so people wouldn't auction off food. And you know, I was basically the bitch that ran around. Everybody's like, you know, but no, I mean, we've had some incredible times there. I did that for a while, you know, just because I could. You know, I would wait tables down there, and so now fast forward many years later, I don't know, it's been 15 years, I guess, since Kelly's been around. I'm not really sure. And then, well, no, I mean, if I'm 20 years, because it was before, so it's probably more like 22 years that Kelly's was around.
Okay.
And
yeah, because I remember coming back and visiting and going over to Bay Creek and playing golf and going to Kelly's and eating dinner and getting a few drinks that night.
It would have been 2007 probably.
Yeah, that was
like
before I came back full time. So yeah.
So he was, I mean, Gene and Colleen, you know, they've just been at it for a long time, and it was just time, you know. And so our local gastro guy, serial restaurateur John Dempster, and
maybe we should get him on.
Oh, you should. And his amazing team.
Yeah, because he is involved with the shanty.
He started at the shanty. He actually came in, and one of his first jobs was as a bartender at Kelly's Pub, which is part of his story and full circle
cool.
with there. He came in with a buddy of his, Mike, on a boat called the Arvor, which, as far as I know, is still dry docked over at the boatyard over around the corner from another wonderful restaurant, the Hook and Harvey, Tim and Mel. And so the
got updated.
They came in. Fast forward, he hung out, started a family, created the shanty.
Dead Rise.
Then created Dead Rise some years later. Then most recently, I think this is his second year now, took over ownership from the wonderful Miriam at Brown Dog Ice Cream.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And
he owns a lot.
And just this season, went in, did a full redo, deep clean, you know, lots of fixtures change. I mean, there were so many iconic items at Kelly's. Most of those went through auction. A lot of those went through auction. And then John and his wife, Abby, and his, like I said, awesome crew. They all brought in, you know, new stuff. It's still a similar vibe for those of us that are accustomed to it. You know, nothing has changed in that way, but updated menu. Kurt and Sally Lewin did a beautiful oak bar top.
Oh,
I think
nice.
it's oak. It's incredible.
Kurt
you know,
Lewin does awesome stuff.
Lots of local there as well. You know, John is another somebody like me in that way that came in from away from here, but with the attitude of belonging here. Yeah, just wanting to really, and embrace and not change anything, add to it, you know, and make it fit. You know, it's like a oozy jelly. It just kind of fills all the little right holes, you know, instead of knocking shit over and like do it this way. It's like this, you know, and then before you know it, it's like, it's everywhere and I can't get it off of me and I don't want to.
Like the blob.
Yeah, exactly.
So we have a drink named after our podcast there.
Yes, the Inlet. We do a really yummy cold brew called Marsh Mud. I named it Marsh Mud after the chocolatey cake that they make down in Mississippi over the marshy mud.
Nice.
And so it has a chocolatey flavor. Unbeknownst to me, I did not know that Kelly Conklin up there at Island Creamery. See, I'm hitting both counties. I'm
telling
you.
I'm
not just
telling you.
Not just Northampton County.
I love it.
She does it all.
Yeah. So he does have a delicious marsh mud ice cream. No coffee involved. It's chocolate. It's delicious. Get some. We have a product that took Best in Show at the Virginia Finest Food and Beverage Show back in 2010, before cold brew was like really a thing. We Eastern Shore styled it and made it very simple to brew. That is our marsh mud. It's a Guat and Colombian mix, and it makes a delicious cold brew. With the nitro scene going on, which is where you push a keg of cold brew coffee, but with nitrogen. So it pours just like a Guinness. So it's got a nice foamy head on it. They have that on tap at the E&O pub.
I'm gonna go.
Okay.
I want to drink one
And
right
so
now.
the Inlet,
Not the Inlet, but one of those coffees.
The Inlet has got marsh mud with a shot of Bailey's and bourbon.
Nice.
And a few were consumed on Saturday night.
Just
my
a few.
birthday on Saturday. Yeah, it was good.
That's awesome.
It was good.
I know,
so that's the Inlet.
Lucas sent a
Lucas had
text
some, I
late.
think.
I know he's the one that
He sent a text and told us. I was like, man, that's one of the coolest things ever.
Well,
Yeah.
we coined the name and he put it on the system.
I love it.
It's there.
Yeah,
I love
it's
it.
there.
That is awesome.
And you can get
and that's what I'm saying. Like magic happens around you, right? I just think I'm so happy that you're a part of our community here on the Eastern Shore.
Thanks, Charlie.
With being authentic, being true to yourself, best words of wisdom, I think.
Thanks.
From you. Sorry, I interrupted you there.
No, I appreciate it.
No, thank you for coming on. Again, this is one thing that I
30, that was easy.
I know, right?
Yeah, look, 2 hours into it almost, and this is how much fun we have here. This is what we do here.
We didn't even get into future of society and AI, and
so we've got to have you back on.
Sure.
But do you have any last minute questions or any last minute comments or things that you want to get off your chest before we sort of
I've got
conclude?
a lot, but I want to save it because I do want to have you back on here for sure, because there's a lot of things, just again, like wanting to start my own business and we talk a lot of conspiracy stuff, a lot of AI stuff, a lot of manifesting things and believing that.
Yeah, we can get woo woo next time.
Yes, I love woo woo. We go deep in the woo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give us a little teaser of the woo woo though. Like what are your beliefs on when I was in Jacksonville, sorry, I'm all over the place.
Do it.
ADD, or is that ADHD?
Hey!
So so I had this conversation with my parents were there, my stepbrother was there, my brother was there, and then my brother's girlfriend, who's from Brazil, she had a bunch of friends there, and I like to come up with ranking things like the cheeses today, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, all right, rank these things in order from most believable based on evidence.
Ah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Number one, Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Which
slash,
is okay. Slash chupacabra slash.
Maybe do you put Loch Ness?
No.
Okay.
That would be separate.
Okay.
I'm
okay.
Yeah.
Sasquatch.
Ghosts.
Okay.
Aliens.
Okay.
Which one is the most believable based on evidence? Right? And I had everybody rank them, and there were some interesting contribution shared. I know where my 3 are, but where are your 3?
Okay, ghosts, aliens,
and Bigfoot. And then maybe let's say add another one at the end.
Okay, I believe in all, I mean they all exist. Clearly.
They all exist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because we're energy. I've seen ghosts, so like
you personally have seen
like personal experience with Ouija boards. Like I visited like a Catholic priest, like because of what was going down. So like,
you had to get what's that called?
Exorcism.
I went to seek the input of a Catholic priest.
I've never heard this story.
Like I made an appointment, and that's how intense the experience was. So I believe in ghosts. I'm not ranking them yet.
Okay, yeah. Give us your spiel. Yeah.
Because I'm a biologist and I do believe in evolution, it's like hard for me not to think that there's not pockets out there where that there's not some like plesiosaur swimming around, or
you're talking about Nessie
or Bigfoot, those sorts of things.
Strange creatures like the Yeti.
Yeah, like why not?
Yeah, right. And that's the same take that I have on that. Like from a biology standpoint, like there's we just discovered like 500 new species in the ocean the other day. Like how human knowledge is so limited.
And I do think that generally,
what if they're smarter than us and they just can hide,
Well, that's why we haven't found them yet, because they are smarter than us.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, all right.
And then the last one is aliens.
The other one is aliens. I mean, yeah. if you believe in a higher power, like, why would they just do us, right? Like, I mean, that's crazy. We're like a failed experiment, big time, And so, I mean, even just like the recent picture, like looking up at the sky, I think I was still like, I feel like I'm a fairly smart person, but it took me like at least a couple or 3 decades before I could really go like, oh, each star is the center of each star that you see at night is the center of its own friggin' galaxy. It's a star. So it has celestial bodies rotating around each and every one of those things. And that they're not on the, you just think of them as like hanging there on a plane.
Get close to your microphone.
But some of them are, the plane of, it's crazy. So you're seeing so you see this like picture that they've shown recently. Is it the Hubble? It's not the Hubble, is it? It's this
James
new
Webb.
Okay.
James Webb.
And they show you this like one little thing, which is supposed to be like the size of like Texas in the grand scheme of things. And there's like, just by the visible eye, there's like over 400 something like galaxies, and they're all their own color and shape.
Right. The stars you see in the sky are only part of the Milky Way galaxy. There's other galaxies that are out there that are beyond what you even see in the sky.
Yeah. So it's just so how could we possibly? Now, I do believe maybe life as we know it, but I remember being a very young kid and being like, isn't that the excluder right there as we know it?
Mm-hmm, exactly.
There's maybe not any other planet where we could survive.
Yeah.
Without external influence. But don't tell me there's not some phosphorus breathing, critter out there somewhere. Come on, yeah, there's just got to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe that we're being guided by an advanced alien race to a certain extent.
From out of where?
From what's the name of the Antirion or something? I can't remember, but I like to listen to Bashar a lot. Bashar is a guy that this guy Daryl Anka channels this. It's an alien that's like in a parallel universe, but they kind of hang out above. He talks about like where his different ships are.
Really?
People are like, I'm never buying her coffee again.
No,
or they may want to get to the same mindset.
Like, you're yourself.
Daryl Anka. Okay, so I think the biologist in me is like, how can we not have any of those three?
Yeah,
seriously, because and so with spirit stuff, I just believe that we're all energy, and I do believe in a human experience by a spirit on this earth. I think that it's a chosen experience from a spirit entity, and I believe in reincarnation because of that. And I think that sometimes those energies, probably mostly because of ego, want to hang out longer or make a different deal than I'm not going to say I believe in predestination necessarily, but it's like I think there's an arrangement, and maybe that's the challenges of being earthbound. And I do believe that I don't fear death in the way that a lot of people may see it. I see it as this is the dream, and when we die, it's like, we're going to be like, oh, I'm home, in that way. That was intense. Like, this is the crazy dream. It's an experience that we're having as a spirit in having a human experience, which is one of the reasons that I'm all about inclusivity, because it's like, why do we deny that from anybody, really, just across the board?
I love you just said that, because even last week I said, we are spiritual beings here having a human experience. Full on, like we chose.
Exactly.
We have chosen to be here, even at this time and now. We have chosen to be
1,000%.
here to have this experience, so that we can actually, as our spiritual selves, we can grow and gain more knowledge for the next thing after this life.
Yep.
So, dude,
agreed.
We're definitely having her back on.
Sweet. That's a little plug.
I love it. I love it.
And so, if I was going to rank those, maybe I'd have to put Bigfoot last. I just don't know if he has enough territory. It's like K selection and stuff like that. I don't know if he's got enough carrying capacity.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And then like
resources,
like where do you find chick Bigfoots and stuff? Chick
Bigfoots.
Well, they gotta,
Yeah. You gotta do the birds and the bees.
Just in order to
to have baby Bigfoots.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
they might be just great friends.
Or maybe maybe the Bigfoots are the alien. Maybe somehow there's some.
Do you read? Do you like to read?
I do like to read. What should I read?
I'm not a reader, so any suggestion I have for a book comes from like before I turned 25. But there's this. It made me think of it when you were like, if the Bigfoot are the whatever. So there's this guy Christopher Moore, and he writes a series of books, but one of them is called Fluke.
Okay.
And basically, all the whales and dolphins are aliens. And they just start bailing, you know, at a certain point.
Yeah.
So they're leaving these like whale and dolphin carcasses everywhere, but it turns out that they were like, you know, just ships.
Okay.
I'll have to check it out.
And he is a brilliant. It's all of his books are very science based. I mean, it's all fiction hilarity.
Yeah.
But you can tell he's like, I really appreciate the work, the research he puts into being factual about when he's talking about stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, that's important.
Luke.
That's important for, you know, us marine bio nerds. Definitely.
I think for anybody that's especially, you know, like my dad used to watch airplane movies and he'd be like, that's not the inside of a C-37.
Oh,
You know?
See, that's my world.
Yeah. They
know?
would like show the outside of a plane and then cut to the cockpit and he's like, they didn't have it.
I know.
Yeah, right. That's not the same plane.
God.
My wife sometimes doesn't like watching movies with me because I'm like, come on, man, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I hope you enjoyed being here.
I did very much.
Yes, very nice
And
meeting you.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much. This was a great time.
Thanks, Lucas.
Yeah.
Let people know about us.
I will.
And again, I'm going to say it again, like I have been the last few times. I want everybody out there who is watching this and enjoying this podcast to leave your comments. Let us know who you would like to see on here and give us an idea as to what we can talk about this lovely lady with next time.
Yeah.
If we
or
can
if you'd rather not see me.
cheeses or aliens or whatever, you know,
Let's
we'll
just
hit it all. So thank you all again for watching this. Thank you very much for being
Thanks,
here.
Dave.
Very
Thank
nice
you,
meeting you,
Charlie.
Charlie.
Of
This
course.
was
Thanks,
awesome.
Lucas.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Lucas. This was cool.
Thanks, ESO.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Thanks, The Shore.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.